talking about, Nick's already kind of gone through what referrals are, but just kind of to reiterate for anybody just watching this segment later, or just to kind of look at it from a customer success perspective or customer client perspective. It is a module in academia that is used to track students who are being sent to specific departments for additional support, and to communicate with those departments about why the student is being referred and give the student some clear next steps. It includes a customizable questionnaire. We really encourage you to take advantage of that, the customizability of that aspect. It does tend to work best when more than one center utilizes Accudemia, but it can be used for single center or one center licenses, most notably with regards to like faculty referrals and things like that. And then I do know we have clients who use Accudemia for tracking, but they have an external program for referrals. And using Accudemia for referrals as you can, if you can, has several advantages. First of all, it integrates with the visits tracking, and it becomes easier to see a complete picture of the student's full journey. So you really get a from point A to B to C situation. So we have a few different use cases that I want to go over. So the most common use case that we see is the cross-department collaboration. So in other words, counseling is referring students to tutoring, who is referring students to financial aid, who might refer students to housing, any sort of, one office to another. Might use Accudemia's referrals to keep track of those. This encourages partnerships between these areas that might otherwise be siloed by using referrals as a tool for holistic support. The questionnaire may include notes that have detailed or general information, depending on what's appropriate. And then, so as an example on what that looks like, say a student is referred to career services, the tutoring department can then view notes on the student's career goals and help them develop academic projects that align with those goals to make coursework more meaningful for the student. In other words, it's not just send the student over with a piece of paper or send an email saying, hey, I'm sending a student, or can you reach out to this student? It is a fuller record of what is actually going on with the student in order to give them more targeted assistance. And like I said, this could be for any sort of center. It could be early alert, advising, health services, counseling, housing, financial aid. That's just limited, includes but not limited to. And this second use case that I already mentioned is faculty referrals. So this is encouraging faculty participation in Accudemia and your center's operations, and it can be used for tutoring or other areas wherever the faculty member thinks the student needs to go. Again, this is something that is often used within like an email context. There's an email the faculty member sends, or even they don't send an email, they just send the student. Now there's no record of that referral taking place, and the follow-up with the faculty member becomes a little more difficult to do formally, or it requires physical paperwork that can build up and largely is not collated into anything more meaningful later. So say a student has been struggling with a math class, they're receiving a failing grade, they received a failing grade in a recent exam. If the instructor uses a formal referral system within Accudemia to send the student to tutoring services, all involved parties can see the chain of the student's journey as that student seeks assistance, along with any relevant information that might help staff in meeting the student's needs, rather than just the student showing up and saying, my teacher told me I failed, I have to talk to you guys. And now we're getting into a little more out of the box ideas for how best, how to utilize the referrals in Accudemia. So one idea would be a mentorship, a referral-based mentorship or a tutor matching program. I do know I have some folks using Accudemia with a tutor matching program. In other words, the student is not allowed to just show up and take whichever tutor is available for their subject. They are specifically assigned to a tutor, almost as if the tutor has a caseload. similar to an advisor, or a mentorship program where, again, the student is going to be assigned to either a peer mentor or a professional mentor to assist them. And this is something that not all students are assigned to the way that most students are assigned an advisor, so they have to opt into that system. Or they have to be referred to it in some cases. So if the referral questionnaire contains questions that allow the center to gather more information about the student, they can be paired with the appropriate support person. So say, for example, a student is paired with a peer mentor using a questionnaire that reflects the student's concerns, goals, and strengths. This allows the mentor to then be better equipped to help the student with valuable information. And then again, speaking of services that are gated or opt-in, there are some at most colleges that only certain students have access to, depending on different statuses they might have. So like a TRIOS program or veterans program. This intake system, this referral in academia, can be used to gather those applications. I think more so than, say, the support Dropbox, this is a better way to keep track of it because it's something that everyone in the center can see, and it's not a ticket per se. It's more of a request for overall help or for access to something that they are going to continue to access. So the referral form can keep track of those applications. So let's say you have a center which serves exclusively FTIC students. This can help keep that information a little better organized, and it also allows you to jump very easily from, did the student opt into our services, to, is the student using our services using those session logs from Accudemia. All right, so pretend that now you're using the referrals, even if you're not, and we have to come to the question of, all right, we've collected this data. Now what do we do with it? So how is that data valuable? What does it actually do for us? So if you're using it in tandem with your session logs, which you should be using session logs, you're able to show an additional level of engagement and an additional value of your services beyond the story told by just your session logs and or your appointments. This is helpful for things like arguing for more resources and budget. It also just in general increases the credibility of your center. It can be used to build relationships with other departments and faculty members. If you have solid data that shows that it's being utilized, the referral data can help improve your day-to-day services by showing the attributes of the students who are most commonly referred to your area and preemptively meet those needs. So if all the referrals over the course of a semester show that the students referred to your center have certain challenges in common that maybe you weren't acutely aware of before, now you're better equipped to preemptively assist with those kinds of issues. We do recommend refining that prompt, those forms regularly. And again, using the forms is how you learn whether or not the forms need to be revised. And it can help you find friction and sticking points and loops in the student experience, and identifying points at which the students are getting stuck, not with the form itself necessarily, but with the entire process of being referred. At what point are they most likely coming or not coming? Are you getting them in the door for one session and subsequent sessions need a little bit more work? The referral gives you a bigger picture of the student experience to help you identify and address those issues. And just remember that data isn't just for those end of term reports. It's operational feedback about your services. If you're not using referrals, you could potentially be missing out on a source of feedback, especially if students are already getting referred to you, just not through any formal means. If students are frequently being sent to you by faculty, if they are being referred by other departments and they are just being emailed to you or sent, or the student is just told to march over to your office, that's great data that's showing the value of your service, and you're not able to quantify that without some kind of tracking system. All right, so I have a few clients who have agreed to give some information. Danny, are you with us today?
I am here.
Yeah. So I have your email that you sent me about how Golden West College uses those referrals. Would you like me to read that, or do you want to just kind of give folks an idea in your own words?
Um, Go ahead and read it and I can add to
Okay.
it
Okay,
if need.
so Danny said, we make regular and intentional use of the referral feature in academia as part of our student support process. Faculty, counselors, and academic support programs across campus have access to submit referrals for students who may benefit from additional assistance. Referrals can be made in a wide range of services, including tutoring in specific subjects, writing assistance, English conversation practice, directed learning activities, and support with foundational academic skills such as study strategies, time management, and navigating Canvas. Referrals are also commonly submitted when an instructor or counselor has concerns about a student's academic performance or progress. Once a referral is entered into academia, it is routed to a designated point person in our center who is responsible for reviewing each referral individually. The staff member reaches out to the student with personalized suggestions based on the most appropriate tutor or support service. Academia's follow-up functionality allows the staff member to set a reminder date so that no referral is overlooked. If the student does not respond to the initial outreach, the system prompts her to follow up again. The referral record typically remains open and active until one of two outcomes occurs. The student schedules and attends an appointment with a tutor or support provider, or 3 documented outreach attempts are made without a response from the student. This process ensures that the referrals are handled consistently, that students are given multiple opportunities to engage with support service, and that the center maintains clear documentation of outreach and outcomes for accountability and continuous improvement purposes. So this is awesome. So the first question that I would have for you, Danny, which I think other folks might be wondering about as well, is what is the data showing you about the success rates of students? And anecdotally, what are you seeing in terms of the students who have been referred?
The students that are reached out to and actually come into the center tend to repeatedly come back. So we do have that. Some of them have never heard of tutoring, which is really interesting because that means we're not doing something right. Um, but what I noticed is if the students that never respond to anything or just respond with a thank you, I'll look into it, never step foot into the center, not even for just like using our computers or anything like that. So, but we still love the fact that we can um, get students that normally would not have known about the center to come in and assess what their needs are, get the help they need, whether it's something we can provide for them or something we could even refer to them to somewhere else on campus.
Awesome. Was there anything else you wanted to add about this that wasn't in the initial email that you sent over?
I think the email was pretty thorough. We do really like the referral program and the like all kinds of organizations on campus use it. So it's not just faculty or counseling, but we have like the MESA program uses it and Emoja uses it. So anyone in their groups that feel like they need anything, even just like time management or just study skills, or even just refer them to our workshops, um, everyone's using it. So it's not just a small group of people.
Did you find adoption of the system to be how to be pretty easy among the stakeholders?
I feel like it was. I didn't hear anyone complain, and it's very easy for them to use and access. So the learning curve was very small.
Excellent. So thank you so much, Danny. Again, 2 months in a row, we really appreciate your time today. I have a couple more folks, so neither of them could be here today. So the first one is Felicia Skeens from Northwest State Community College. I have a video that I'm going to show, and this is a video not for you all, but it is actually the video that they send to faculty members to show them how to send a referral. So some of the stuff in it is going to be very similar to what Nick showed, but I want you to kind of see it from the perspective of marketing it to faculty to just kind of show them the step-by-step process and how easy it is to submit a referral when they want to. And before I share that, I'll just read off the information she sent me about how specifically it is utilized at Northwest State Community College. Faculty members send in referrals for students for academic help, sometimes about food or home security or mental health. It usually is academic based with some other insights included. I then reach out to the student to try to get them connected to the resources needed, as well as having their academic advisor, faculty advisor, or trio coaches, any on-campus or even off-campus resources within the initial contact, so we are all on the same page after the referral is inputted. And I follow up within 3 days, give updates, update notes in our other system and Accudemia, and close the referral typically within a week unless needed. So I'm going to go ahead and play that video. Please bear with me 1 second while I make sure to share it properly.
Hello, my name is Felicia and I am the Success Center Coordinator at Northwest State, and I'm going to teach you how to put in a referral for the early alert system. The system that we use is called Accudemia, and it is located in your MyNSCC. When you are putting in a referral, you will want to think about a few things. Typically, you'll put in a referral if someone is struggling in their class. Maybe they haven't shown up in a couple of weeks. Maybe they haven't logged in to their online course, or you can't get a hold of them. You can also put in a referral for maybe they're needing some mental health resources or even the food pantry on campus. I get a number of referrals for students who are academic based, but then they also may need another resource. In order to put in an academic early alert referral, you will want to log into your MyNSCC. Once you are logged into your MyNSCC account, you will see your picture and a couple of options on the left-hand side. You will want to click Faculty and the yellow button that says Academic Early Alert Warning System. Once you've clicked that, you are now in Accudemia. You will want to go to Campus and Referrals. Once you get to Referrals, you'll want to click New Referral, and you will want to add instructor, so your name, your class, and your student. You can type your student's name or you can search. The follow-up by is automatically set up to be sent to me. You can put a follow-up date. You can do today, a couple days ahead. However, we answer these within 24 hours. In the comment section, you can notate what's going on. For instance, you can say, the student has not been showing up to class. He was doing very well in the first few weeks. Now that we are in week 4, he has not responded to me or shown up to class. Student mention his grandpa passing. You can also add recipients, as in other students, or other teachers. And then you do not want to click Notify Student. You'll want to answer the detailed questions. Is this an online class? No. The faculty's recommendations, so what are your recommendations for this student? Sounds like maybe personal counseling. You can put other and put your information here. Reason for the recommendation, you can say lack of attendance, lack of academic progress, other if you so choose. And then you can also say again, please tell us the communication you have had with the student about this issue, and you can put in here that you emailed and called them. However you communicate with your students. Once done, you just press Save Changes and it will submit to me, and then I will be able to review it. And that's how you put in a academic early alert in the Accudemia site.
Thank you to Felicia for sending that in. I hope that was helpful for folks watching it. The next speaker was the next person I spoke with was Jenny Garber from Kishwaukee College, and she very kindly sat down with me for an interview about her school's use of referrals. Unfortunately, the video of it was a little janky due to a bad connection. So we have some pictures showing over it, but I think the information in it is really, really helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for you guys. Just give me 1 second to open it here. Can you share a little bit about how your center utilizes those referrals in academia?
Sure. So we actually use a couple different products to do our referral, and Accudemia is one of them. So our referrals start with Navigate 360. That's what our advising department uses. So they kind of get them straight from the instructors. And then after they receive them in Navigate 360, they input them into Accudemia for us. I get a notification. The instructor is also notified as well. So probably one of the benefits I would say of using Accudemia is that anytime I update the referral or advising updates the referral, anytime a change is made or it progresses through the system, an automatic email does go out to the faculty member attached to that referral. And so that is one really nice feature, a way to kind of keep everybody in the loop. So anyone who on Accudemia is connected to that referral, not the student, unless you opt in for them to receive a copy of the notes or the change, the status update, but really the instructor who maybe either referred them or the student is there for their class or the advisor that recommended them, they're all getting updates as I am moving the student through the process. So whenever I update a note that the student has been contacted, or if I wanted to add information that they attended an appointment and maybe they have one scheduled as well, that's where I would do that in the Accudemia system, and that information goes out to everyone.
Okay, awesome. Can you give a couple of examples of some reasons why a student might be referred, like some circumstances that might lead to that?
Absolutely. So I think it's probably one of the most common ones are students feeling just behind in their class, that maybe whether it's an 8-week course or a 16-week course, that maybe they've missed a week or didn't realize if it was an online class, maybe that there was some discussion board posts that they needed to do. So they feel a little behind now. They want just kind of a guide to help them understand, how to get back to where they want to be in the course. So I think yeah, feeling behind in the class. Another, I would say students often express to their advisors the need, and that's one of the ways we receive the most referrals. Also, instructors can refer like a whole class to us, and that happens on occasion.
Oh boy.
Mhm. Absolutely. But yeah, so I would say another thing, one of other service our tutoring center does is like class technology. So any technology they're using for class, whether that's Zoom or I know some schools use Blackboard, we use Desire to Learn. And so help kind of navigating those systems. So often students are referred to us for help getting comfortable with the technology for their class, whether that's Blackboard or D2L. So that's another common one as well.
And you talked a little bit about how generally students are not looped in on the referral. Can you talk about circumstances where a student might, where the referrer might choose to have the student included on the communications?
Yes, I think it's referring to another department, and that student has explicitly asked to be connected to that department. Really just kind of looping the student in. It's a really easy box you can check that says the student will be notified, and they see a copy of your notes as well. So I think in another way, it can help the student just kind of feel like, they haven't been forgotten, that they're still involved in this process.
Absolutely. What kinds of information are you collecting in these referrals, and how do they help you with assisting the student later on down the road?
Great question. I would say one of the things we definitely track which class and which instructor. And one of the things we have here at Kish are co-requisite classes, so kind of support sections. And so we definitely keep track of students in those classes and if they come to us. And then we look at kind of what is the average. And for students at Kish, in those classes, how do they do, whether it's a drop rate or a pass rate, what is that percentage? And then we look at the students who do use our services and kind of compare that rate.
And then let's talk about data, where all this, you're collecting all this great information. What has the information about the referrals shown you, and has it enabled you to, like in any other avenues to ask for more resources or advertise your services? What's been the benefits there?
That's a great question. I would say one thing that we see a lot are the return rate is quite high. And that really tells us that the students who do make it in the door, that they are having really a positive connection and they do come back. And so I think that has really helped us see that often if we're not being used, it's because we have to get the word out. It's not that students aren't benefiting or having a good experience. It's just they need to know about the service.
Great. How about a timeline of when you started using this, when you started using this feature, and then any tweaks that you've made along the way, any lessons that you learned, or ways that you found that you could streamline the process a little better?
That's a great question. I would say, so part of our process is after I receive a referral in Accudemia, I actually reach out to the student via our Outlook account. And so I'm not reaching out to them through Accudemia, but that is one thing that I would be interested in, exploring more rather than hopping out and doing another kind of program or piecemeal a little bit, how to really just utilize Accudemia for more features. But I would say, I've only been in this position maybe about 4 months now, so it is very new to me and I'm learning a lot. And um, I would say the main thing has been being in communication with faculty, making sure that if they want to receive the notifications of whether a student has visited us, we have those set on like automated reports that go to faculty, kind of having that faculty buy-in and really communicating the process every step of the way, communicating why faculty are receiving these notifications, what that means on our end when they see them, what that means for the student. I think just being open and communicating with faculty has been a huge part of this.
Great. All right. Anything else that you'd like to say about the referrals in Accudemia? I think that that covers most of our main points.
Just that I find that the students are eager for the help, and I think they're pretty successful, and that helps us to know here in the tutoring center, we're a bit of a silo. I'm not in the classes. I don't know all the students. And so to really have a way to hear from the instructors or the advisors who are talking one-on-one to these students and saying, this is a resource that would really help you, and letting us know that they want the help. I think that's huge.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And what is the general like student attitude when they've been referred?
That's a great question. I find it's thankful for the help. Sometimes even the responses are, you know, thank you so much for reaching out. I really need help right now. It's, I find it is very positive. We do get, an email from time to time response back from a student that might, say something, well, out of frustration that they've dropped the class. So maybe they're not in there anymore, just expressing kind of, a bad experience or just this wasn't the right time. And I think that happens, and that's helpful for us to know as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Jenny. I'm glad to hear that for the most part it's not stigmatized. I'm glad to hear that you and your colleagues are getting a lot out of it. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, of course.
If you do have a minute to fill out our feedback form, we really appreciate it. It helps us keep these sessions relevant for you all. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I want to thank our 3 contributors to the discussion on referrals, and hope that you will all join us next month in February for our next Accudemia monthly session. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your week.